In the final brutal year of World War II, a top secret American unit was on the front lines in Europe. But their arsenal, it wasn't what you'd expect. They had no bullets, no bombs. Their only weapons were pure illusion, sound effects, and an entire army of inflatable tanks. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, doesn't it? But this actually happened. This is the incredible story of how a small, hand-picked group of artists and creatives managed to fool the German army, completely messing with their perception of where and how big the American forces really were. The unit behind this whole grand deception, officially called the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, was surprisingly small. We're talking just 1,100 men. That's it. But here's where it gets wild. Through sheer creativity, this small band of soldiers could convincingly impersonate two entire divisions. That's a phantom force of over 30,000 men. So who were these guys, these phantom soldiers? Well, the unit was activated back on January 20th, 1944, and it was unlike anything the U.S. Army had ever put together. They were assembled for a very specific and, let's be honest, a very theatrical purpose. They quickly earned a nickname, the Ghost Army, and their one and only mission was tactical deception on a massive scale. Their job was basically to become masters of perception, to make the enemy see huge armies where there was nothing, and to completely miss the real armies that were moving right under their noses. And to pull something like this off, the Army didn't look for your typical GIs, no. They went out and scoured art schools, advertising agencies, and sound engineering firms. They were looking for a totally different kind of soldier, people whose greatest weapon was their own imagination. Okay, so how in the world did they actually turn a battlefield into a stage? Well, their success really boiled down to a revolutionary, kind of multimedia toolkit of deception. Captain Fred Fox, who wrote the unit's official history, he put it perfectly. He said they were basically a traveling roadshow. And their audience? The German High Command. They were aiming to fool them with a brand new performance night after night. Their whole deception was just brilliantly multi-layered. First up, you had the visual stuff. They'd roll out hundreds of inflatable rubber tanks, trucks, even airplanes. Then came the sonic element. Huge, powerful speakers on trucks would blast pre-recorded sounds of troop movements, sounds you could hear up to 15 miles away. On top of that, there was radio deception. Operators created these fake radio networks, and they were so good they could mimic the unique sending styles of real Morse code operators. And finally, they created atmosphere. Soldiers would put on fake uniforms, hang out in local towns, and spread rumors to throw off any spies. And these illusions were just remarkable. I mean, think about it. A real M4 Sherman tank weighs over 30 tons. Their inflatable version? Just 93 pounds. A real tank needed a 5-man crew to operate. The fake one could be picked up and moved by just 4 guys. So all of this practice, all these incredible tools, it was all leading up to their final and most ambitious performance, a true masterpiece of deception that had a direct impact on the war's final push into Germany. It was called Operation Viersen in March of 1945. The mission was to create this huge distraction to draw German eyes away from the U.S. Ninth Army's real plan to cross the Rhine River. For days, the Ghost Army put on its greatest show ever. They set up over 600 inflatable vehicles, blasted the sounds of bridge construction all night long, and the Germans totally took the bait. While their forces were focused on this phantom army, the real Ninth Army crossed the river just 10 miles away, with almost no resistance. And we know for a fact that it worked. Why? Because captured German intelligence confirmed everything. They completely bought the fake story, hook, line, and sinker. They were expecting a huge crossing at Viersen. Their battle maps showed the Phantom 79th Division, and they moved real troops to fight an enemy that was made of nothing more than rubber and sound. The official military assessment was undeniable. The Ninth Army's own intelligence report said that the Ghost Army's deception was a massive success that directly saved American lives. And get this, these groundbreaking tactics weren't just being used in Northern Europe. A smaller sister unit was doing similar sonic deceptions down in Italy, successfully pinning down German soldiers during a really critical Allied push. So you might be wondering, if this unit was so successful, why have so few of us ever heard their story? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Their mission was so secret that the story was basically buried for half a century. Right after the war, every single soldier was sworn to absolute secrecy. This whole mission was so sensitive that its records stayed classified all the way until 1996. For over 50 years, these veterans couldn't even tell their own families what they really did during the war. And the military was absolutely serious about this. In a thank you letter sent to the soldiers, General Dwight D. Eisenhower himself added a pretty chilling handwritten note. It said, "If you tell anyone, I'll see that you hang." But after decades of being stuck in the shadows, the story of the Ghost Army has finally come to light, and it reveals this incredible legacy of bravery and unbelievable innovation. Their missions were so dangerous. They were often just a few hundred yards from the front lines, armed with not much more than speakers and rubber decoys. And across more than 20 major deceptions, the number of soldiers they lost was just astonishingly low, only 3 men. And the number of lives they saved? Military historians figure their deceptions prevented somewhere between 15,000 and 30,000 Allied casualties. It's just incredible. Their impact was simply enormous. As a once classified Army report from 1945 put it, rarely, if ever, has there been a group of such few men which had so great an influence. And finally, in 2024, almost 80 years after their final performance, the unit got its long overdue recognition. The surviving members were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest honor Congress can give. The Ghost Army proved that creativity and imagination can be some of the most powerful weapons in a war. And it kind of leaves us with a big question for our own time, doesn't it? In a world of digital deepfakes and constant disinformation, what can we still learn from an army that won battles with nothing more than a good story?